So, hello everybody and welcome. Yes, welcome back here at BSN Network. You get back here, BSN Network. This is the BSN Network podcast here today. It is Friday, January 14th. Hopefully everybody's having a day so far and a good rest of their day yesterday. It is, in fact, Friday, January 14th here today. Coming off another nice night in sports last night and a big weekend of football ahead of us. 3 straight days full of wild card football. Tomorrow you got 2 games on, then Sunday you have 3, and then Monday we'll cap off the weekend with the Rams and the Cardinals. So that's going to be a lot of fun, a lot to get to today in the podcast. Yeah, like I said, last night, another nice night last night in sports. You had good action in the New York sports side of things. You had the Rangers getting a win, shutting out the Sharks and Igor Shesterkin's return off the COVID list. You had Islanders getting a win off of their COVID pause. You had the Nets not getting a win. So both hockey teams did their job, did their end of the stick, but the New York Rangers, or the Brooklyn Nets rather, did not, as they took a very tough loss last night to a struggling and not a very talented, just a struggling Oklahoma City Thunder team, and not even just a struggling Oklahoma City Thunder team, just a rebuilding Oklahoma City Thunder team. Now look, right, we were without Kevin Durant, we were without Patty Mills, obviously Kyrie only playing road games, so I believe the Nets got in at like 5 in the morning after that Bulls game in Chicago. So they got back like 5 in the morning to then play a game the next, that same day. It's a lot. It's tiring. I understand. My expectation, when I made my game pick, I thought KD was in the lineup. My expectation once the game started and I kind of heard about all the news with Patty Mills and Kevin Durant was, yeah, the Nets aren't winning this one. Number one, you're without Patty Mills, who's a really solid asset, especially in games where it might be slow and it might be sluggish. A guy who could provide a spark, that's Patty Mills. A guy who can, quickly help your team get on a 7-0 burst and make a 10-point game and back into a 3-point game. He's that kind of player that can change a game like that. And, he's one of those players that, like I said, could create a spark, can create some momentum. In a night like last night, where you could have used a spark, you could have used some momentum, it was sluggish, it was slow, players weren't, fully, you could just tell they were not 100%, they were tired, they were slow, they were sluggish, and a Thunder team that was going out there, they were young, they're quick, they're fast, they were just dominating us. Patty Mills could have been really utilized last night in terms of finding a way to, kind of slow them down and speed the Nets up a little bit. And, we didn't have that last night, and it was clear as we took a very bad 21-point loss to the Thunder. And look, right, you get a win against the Bulls. It's a really nice win. It's a big win. You lose to the Thunder. Just inconsistency. Nets got to find a rhythm. We got to find a rhythm. We cannot continue to win, lose. We got to try to find a rhythm. We were on that rhythm early in the season. We were like 23-9, and now we're like, really sliding off, and we're not the same team. We got to find a rhythm. We got to get some, wins, we got to get some consecutive wins and really get momentum and really keep building, and then you can really, get on a groove and get back to the team that we all saw at the beginning of the season. That was a team that was really a true threat in the league. So Nets got to try to get back on track. They don't play today, but, much needed off day. After a wild couple days, you had the back-to-back, Sunday, Monday. You had the Sunday game at home, then you had to travel out to Portland for a Monday night game. And then Tuesday you had off, but you had a Wednesday game at, late, and then you had a game yesterday as well. So, a really wild schedule for the Nets. It was kind of weird due to COVID. Trailblazers game was then mixed in. Some games got switched. So kind of some COVID stuff affected it. But it was a weird 4-game stretch for the Nets. It's over with. We go 2-2 in the 4-game stretch. So we got to find a way to be a little bit more consistent and a little bit more, just got to be better than what we are showing right now. But as for the plan for tonight in the NBA and NHL, no Nets on, no Knicks as well, no Rangers or Islanders. I apologize. Yesterday I said that the Knicks played tonight, which would be day after the trade, but I apologize, that was wrong. And I noticed I was saying it wrong all along a couple minutes after I did the podcast. So I did the podcast, and then, I don't know, I was looking online or something, and I saw the Knicks game was on Saturday. Or I was watching somebody else's video on the camera at a trade just to get their opinion. And they're like, oh, then they'll be in Atlanta on Saturday night. And I'm like, okay, well, I said Friday all along on my podcast. So I apologize. The Knicks do not play today. So if you heard me yesterday say the Knicks play today, which I said plenty of times, that is wrong. I was wrong. So I apologize for that. They play tomorrow against the Hawks. Hawks still play tonight. They have a front end of a back-to-back. They'll be in Miami tonight against the Heat. Then they'll head back home to play the Knicks tomorrow night. So, Knicks tomorrow night. It will be, the first game since the trade for the Knicks and the second game since the trade for the Hawks. And it will be a battle between two teams that just made the trade, that being the Hawks and the Knicks. So, that's tomorrow night. Nets also back in business tomorrow night against the Pelicans at home. And the Rangers are back in the East Coast time zone, I guess you can kind of say. They finish up their West Coast trip last night with a 3-0 victory. Tomorrow night they will be in Philly to wrap up this long road trip against the Flyers before heading back home, and they'll be back playing games in the Garden. So, with all that being said, not much going on tonight in the world of New York sports with both basketball teams being off and both hockey teams being off. But we got a lot to get to and a very exciting weekend ahead of us. So, with that being said, let's get to the topic for today's podcast. We got the NFL game picks. I will give you my game picks for each game this weekend. There are, 7 of them? 2 tomorrow, or 6 of them, sorry. 2 tomorrow, Bengals, Raiders, and the Bills, Patriots. 3 on Sunday, and then the Monday night game will be finishing off. So I'll give you my 5 games across the next 2 days, and then Monday, I'll give you my Rams-Cardinals game pick, as I always do. So football Friday, no Jets, no Giants. Most of the NFL's done, so it's a lot less, so I can go a little bit more in depth with each game. But still, we got the NFL game picks. I'll get you what you need to know, give you my game picks for the playoffs, and we'll get you that. Then we'll get David Culley firing. As I talked about yesterday, David Culley got fired by the Houston Texans. It was just a couple minutes prior to when I was going to do my pod. It was about 2 minutes before I was going to do my pod. David Culley got fired. So I did not do it yesterday because I already had all my topics set up and I didn't want to change any of that. So I'm going to talk about the David Culley firing today. I know there's a lot of really wild reaction around the league, meaning a lot of people have their opinions on it. A lot of people feel it was unnecessary. Some people think it was dumb. I think some people think, it was kind of expected. I'm going to give you my opinion. I know a lot of you probably disagree with my opinion, but I'm going to give you my opinion on the deal and where the Texans can go from here. I'll get to that in the second topic, and then we'll finish off the podcast with the New York Sports Update, get you ready for a very big weekend, not only in football, but you got basketball, you got hockey, you got Kentucky tomorrow, a big game against Tennessee. You got some college basketball tonight, and I actually don't mind that there isn't much on tonight involving like the Nets, the Knicks, the Rangers, or the Islanders, because it's kind of like tonight's kind of just a sit back and relax night before a wild weekend of 2 wildcard games tomorrow and 3 on Sunday, and then Monday you got 3 straight days of football. Tomorrow, Sunday, Monday, and they're all wildcard games. It's playoffs. It's fun. It's exciting. I'm ready for it. So, it is different. It is definitely different. It's going to be different on Sunday not watching the Jets. You got to get used to that a little bit because, we watched them 17 times this season. So it is a little weird probably this weekend. Usually it's always a little weird not having it. And then the weirdest part is after the Super Bowl, the first couple Sundays after the Super Bowl, you feel like there's nothing on because, you're so used to football being on. And when there's no football on after the Super Bowl, it's like, this is weird. Like, where did the season go? Which is why the USFL will start up shortly after to try to kind of fill in the void. But we'll see how that goes. That's going to be an interesting experiment. But anyway, a lot to get to. Big podcast. Big podcast today. NFL, David Culley, and much more. With all that being said, this is the BSN podcast, and let's get right into it. Alrighty. So, the NFL wild card weekend is, tomorrow will be officially upon us, but it is upon us. You got lots of good games this weekend. Let me just go through each of the games. So you got Bengals, Raiders tomorrow, 4:30 Eastern. Then you got Bills, Patriots, 8:15 Eastern. That's tomorrow's games. Then on Sunday, you'll have the Buccaneers, Eagles at 1 Eastern. Sunday's a little more normal in terms of scheduling. You have 1 o'clock game, 1 Eastern game. You have a 4 o'clock Eastern game. Then you have the Sunday night game. So that's, you have the normal game. But you have the Buccaneers, Eagles at 1 Eastern, Cowboys, Niners at 4:30 Eastern. Then you have the Chiefs, Steelers at 8:15 Eastern. And then you have the Rams, Cardinals at 8:15 p.m. Eastern on Monday night. So those are each of the games, time slots, and everything like that coming up on Wild Card Weekend. This is big. It's always fun. I love Wild Card Weekend. It's always exciting. I feel like Wild Card Weekend always sets the tone for the playoffs. Like, if you have a good Wild Card Weekend, if there's a lot of good games, if there's an upset or two, like if the Eagles knock off the Buccaneers and maybe the Steelers somehow magically knock off the Chiefs, like you could just tell it's going to be one of those plays. Like, the wild card always sets the tone for how the playoffs is. If all 6 of these games are really good, it's like the division round, AFC Championship, NFC Championship, and the Super Bowl is going to be a lot of fun. If there's a lot of blowouts and it's kind of what we all expected, it's going to be like, well, this is weird. But either way, very exciting, and I'm pumped up for it. By the way, so my game picks going into this weekend. Got to tell you a little bit of a funny story. So I'm 171 and 101 going into Wild Card Weekend. So, obviously the last weekend I went 9-7, but the other night I was thinking to myself, just about my game picks, and I was looking at, preview and some of the spreads for the wild card games, and just thinking of, some of the things that, picks and, scores and stuff. Just what I do. I'm just that kind of person. I'm a nerd when it comes to sports. Just, I look at, sports all the time, but, to my point with the game pick, so there's 272 regular season games, and I only had 171. So 171 and 101. So that was definitely, I had 171 and 100. So I went back and looked at all my scores and looked at all my totals for each week, and I recounted them, and I re-looked at them, and it took me a little bit. It definitely did, and I got to week 11, and I found the error. I went 8-6, or I put down I went 8-6 in week 11, but there was actually 15 games. So I only totaled 14 games. I missed one. So I'm actually 8-7 for week 11. So that's the one correction. I went 8-7 in week 11, and now that adds one extra loss. So I'm 171 and 101 now going to the playoffs. So not a major game changer, but it still is a different record and an actual record now that I did not miss a game, because I had 271 games on there and there's 272 in the regular season. So I knew I had to miss one. So I went back, looked, got to week 11, found where I missed it. So 171 and 101 to start the wild card. So hopefully the numbers skyrocket for my wins. But anyway, lot to get to here with a lot to get to here today. Alrighty, so let's begin the wild card weekend game picks. No Jets, no Giants for, it seems like the 30th year in a row now. No Jets, no Giants. Got all the rest of the games, though. Got a lot of good teams. Got a lot of good matchups. Got some fun matchups. Got some exciting ones. So let's kick this off. I'll start in order. I'll go in order from first game on Saturday up until the Sunday night game. Obviously, that being on Sunday. All right, let's kick off Wild Card Weekend game picks. First game to kick off Wild Card Weekend will be the Bengals and the Raiders. Bengals coming into this game 10-7. They are home. The Raiders come into this game fresh off the big game-winning kick by Dylan Carlson to get them into the playoffs. They are also 10-7. Bengals are 5-point favorites. The over-under is set at 48. This game goes on tomorrow, 4:30 p.m. Eastern on NBC in Cincinnati. You know that crowd's going to be wild. They've been really searching for playoff success. I believe the last time prior to the season they made the playoffs was the Super Bowl 50 season where Antonio Brown got drilled in the head, and the rest is, he's kind of gone crazy since that. I believe that was the last time the Bengals made the playoffs. And look, right, the Raiders coming off of a really, really big win against a Chargers team that is also very good and a very entertaining team to watch. They go into the offseason, with a frustrating end to the year, but they go into offseason with a solid season. You saw a lot of good things out of Herbert for the second straight year in a row. But to the point with the Raiders and the Bengals, right? Raiders coming off a very big game, right? They're coming off a big win, emotional win. Derek Carr getting to his first playoffs. And I feel like that, you look at the storylines in this game, and it's going to be the two quarterbacks, obviously. It's going to be Jamar Chase. It's going to be, you look at the Raiders, it's going to be Darren Waller. It's going to be, can Derek Carr, settle in and, play like he has been the past couple weeks? Can the Raiders be the team that they've been to finish out the year? Because if the Raiders play like the team that they have been for the past 4 weeks in a row, they are one of the better teams in the playoffs. Right now, you could say the Raiders are probably the hottest team entering the playoffs. They are. And you can't take that away from them. They were 6-7 4 weeks ago. They are now 10-7. They're riding high fresh off a big-time win against the Chargers, game-winning field goal and all that. So they are the hottest team in the playoffs. And the Bengals, on the other hand, need to find a way to contain that, slow them down. They're going to have a lot of energy. They're going to have a lot of urgency. But one of the things I kind of realized going into this game is it's two quarterbacks. Now, Derek Carr has been in the league. He has been, right? He's been in the league. He's experienced a lot already. Joe Burrow is in his first full season, right? Last year, he missed the majority of the year due to the torn ACL. Good to see him back and playing a high level. That big of an injury earlier in a career is never as good. So it's good to see he's playing even better than he was last season off of a bad injury like that. But Joe Burrow, only in his second season, never made the playoffs. This is his first time at playoffs. And as crazy as it might sound, Derek Carr, although all the experience he's got, he's been in a lot of games, he's been in a lot of big games, he's never been in a playoff appearance. The last time the Raiders were made the playoffs was he broke his leg or broke his ankle or something like that in the final week of the season. I believe it was against the Colts. So the backup quarterback had to come in. Was it Matt McGloin? I think it was Matt McGloin who had to come in against the Texans. Not 100% sure about that. If my memory serves me correct, I believe it was Matt McGloin against the Texans. They got crushed. They lost in the wild card round, and so on and so forth. So it's going to be interesting. You have two quarterbacks that have never played in a playoff game. So yes, Derek Carr is veteran. Yes, he's been in the league. Yes, he's experienced a lot. He's smart. He knows what he's doing. He's a veteran. He's been in the league. And Joe Burrow's only in his second year, right? Still learning, still developing. So the advantage probably goes to Carr, but it's going to be interesting to see how both quarterbacks handle it, because both quarterbacks need their playoff success. And I don't care how long you've been in the league, playoffs are different from regular season. The energy, the stakes, just the overall feel of the game, you're playing up against a very good opponent, and you're hoping that you can outplay them. And ultimately, in this game, I just think the Bengals are the more talented football team in terms of offense. You look at the Bengals offense, I think this is going to be a high-scoring game. I think it's going to be a game where Derek Carr and Joe Burrow both have big games. But at the end of the day, and I've said this all along, Bengals are one of my sleeper teams. Who's going to stop Jamar Chase? Who's going to stop Tyler Boyd? Who's going to stop T. Higgins? We have not seen it at all this year, really. I haven't seen it enough. I have not seen teams stop Jamar Chase, T. Higgins, and all them enough for me to pick against the Bengals here at home against the Raiders team coming off a big win. You got to wonder emotionally how they bounce back from that. Give me the Bengals at home. Jamar Chase, Joe Burrow, get going early. Joe Mixon and the rest of that offense finds a rhythm. Give me Bengals 35-28. Bengals win by a touchdown. They cover the 5 points. Bengals win 35-28. I'll take the over on the over-under 48, and I think the Bengals get the first playoff win of the 2021 2022 NFL season. Give me the Bengals. All right, next up here, we got Bills-Patriots. Bills come into this game 11-6. Patriots come into this game 10-7. Bills are at home in Buffalo. It's going to be freezing. I believe it's going to be like 9 degrees, but it's going to feel like -2 at kickoff. It's going to be freezing. It's going to be cold. It's going to be if you're a fan going to that game, you got a lot of guts. I mean, if the Jets were playing, I would try my best to get tickets and go because I've never been to a Jet playoff game before, so I would love to go to a Jet playoff game. I don't know when that time will come, hopefully soon, but we'll see, right? Either way, Bills 4.5-point favorites. The over-under is set at 44 in this game. This game goes on tomorrow, 8:15 p.m. Eastern on CBS. Look, not even just, you look at this game and the storylines, obviously, Belichick and the Bills, right? Belichick's dominated the Bills all these years. The big storyline is, what can the two quarterbacks do? Can the Patriots, get the run game going early like the last time they were in Buffalo? And if you think about it, with the cold weather in this game, I really don't know what you're going to get from either of these teams in terms of how they're going to play, in terms of how they're going to really, pass the ball and run the ball, and what's going to be the percentage, and are they going to maybe run some things we haven't seen much? Because, look, they're not going to be a crazy win. So you're not going to see all these wild 4th down, let's go for it. You're not going to see Mac Jones only throw the ball 3 times. But what I am interested in seeing is, like, even for the Bills' sake, do they throw the ball at the amount that they usually do, or do you think the Bills, they maybe take a step back? Singletary's been hot to finish out the regular season. Do you ride with the hot hand, try to get Singletary going early, or do you just run with your game plan, get the ball to Diggs, feed it? Do you throw the ball deep, or do you look maybe a lot of underneath, dump it off to Singletary, get it to Knox, get it to, Beasley, and maybe Diggs not be as much of a threat? That's the real question. And that's we're going to find out. Because I don't really think any of us can really predict what either team's going to do. Are the Patriots going to run the ball 40 times and pass 10? Like, what are they going to do? Or are the Bills going to throw it like 40 times and only run 10? What's going to happen? Or is it going to be maybe the Bills throw it 20 and run 15? Are we going to see more of a balanced attack? Because the Patriots, we saw them run a lot we've seen them run a lot twice against the Bills. The one time they won and the other time they lost. We saw them run. They really ran, right? Cold weather, Damian Harris, that good offense line. They're going to run the ball. I expect that. But I'm interested in seeing what the Bills do. And what do they do in the passing game? Do they try to air the ball out to Diggs? Because last weekend it was cold and they struggled. And do you ride with the hot hand of Singletary? Because Singletary's been really good to finish out the regular season, which is a positive sign because maybe now you really can have a lot of trust, in Singletary and in that offensive line to create holes and create gaps for him to get some big runs. It's going to be interesting because both of these teams are cold weather teams, but both of these teams have different styles. Bills like to pass a lot, and their run's not their strength. Meanwhile, the Patriots are more of a balanced team and are okay with running the ball a lot if they need to. Bills, on the other hand, are going to be interesting. So, if the Patriots want to win this game, they gotta contain Diggs and they gotta stop the pass game. And I understand Singletary's been hot, like I said, but you can handle Singletary. Diggs is tough to handle. Once Diggs finds a groove, he's insane. We've seen what he can do. Run game on the other hand, Bills not as strong. So, I think who wins this game is ultimately who just comes out and just addresses it, gets off to an early start, because I think an early start's big, because then if you get off to a 10-13-0 lead, let's just say, all of a sudden you force the other team to start having to pass the ball and start having to get away from their game plan. And ultimately, at home, in Buffalo, 9 degrees, going to feel like, -2? I don't even know what. It's going to be bad. It's going to be cold. That's all I know. It's going to be cold. I don't know the exact number. It's going to be cold. Give me the Bills. Okay? Bills at home against a Patriots team that is good. No doubt about that. But I just don't know. I don't know what to expect from either of these teams. That's why it's so hard to pick this game, because I don't know what to expect from either. Are we going to see another game where the Patriots run the ball 40 times? Like, I don't know what to expect. All I'm going to say is this. I think it's going to be a lower scoring game than a lot of people expect. And I think the Bills come out on top. Now, I don't think the Bills cover for the 4.5 points. Give me the Bills, 23-20. Bills win. I'll take the under on the over-under of 44, and I think the Bills win, but they don't cover. Bills win with a late Tyler Bass field goal. That's how close I think it's going to be. Give me the Bills. All right, now let's get to the 3 Sunday games here. We got the Buccaneers and the Eagles. Buccaneers come in this game. They are the home team, 13-4. Eagles come in this game, 9-8. Buccaneers are 8-point favorites. The over/under is set at 40. The over/under is set at 46. This game goes on 1 p.m. Eastern on Fox. Let me check. Hold on a second. Let me check the weather in Tampa Bay. Sunday it's going to be, knew it. So Sunday it's going to be rainy in Tampa Bay. So, look, this is going to be a bad weather game. It's going to be another bad weather game. You got the Bills game that's going to be extremely cold on Saturday night. And then, the first game on Sunday is going to be very, very rainy. It's going to be wet. It's going to be, it's not going to be good. I can't say it's going to be cold because it's probably going to be like 65 in Tampa, which is nice weather to me anyway. But to my point with the Buccaneers and Eagles, look, right? It's going to be rainy. It's going to be cold. This is going to be another one of these games similar to the Bills-Patriots who can establish the run. Because, it's going to be rain. It's going to be wet. The ball's going to be wet. There's going to be, it's going to be mud. It's not going to be good. It's going to be bad weather throughout the game. So my biggest thing going into this is who can establish the run early. Who can really pound it, get dominant in the trenches, start winning the trenches early on, get some nice runs, get some tough, gritty drives. Like, this is going to be, I think, the perfect game. Like, I think we're going to, the Patriots-Bills game is going to be an example of a kind of just however the game's going, that's what you're going to do. Like, if the game's going where it's high scoring and it's back and forth, you're going to see passing, you're going to see that. If the game's, if the game's slow and there's not many drives, that means probably a lot of runs. But that game's all going to depend on how things go, right? This game, I could just picture it being one of these ugly, tough, gritty wins for both teams. I don't think this is going to be a sparkling win by either team. Not going to spoil my pick yet. I don't think it's going to, this is going to be one of these games. The winner of this game is going to come out of it and say, I'm glad this game's over. Let's move on. Hope that next week there's better weather wherever we are playing, right? That's what I ultimately think both teams are going to come out of this game with, right? We won the wild card game. That's great. But, hey, this weather stinks. That's ultimately what I think is going to happen. Whether it's the Buccaneers that win or whether it's the Eagles that win. Because this is going to be a game it's going to be ugly, it's going to be tough, it's going to be gritty, it's going to be physical, it's going to be like your old style smash mouth football, not much passing, a lot of running. Now, mostly for the Eagles, I think you're going to see a lot of running. Patriots, Brady's probably still throw a lot, but you're definitely going to see a lot more of an incorporation of the run game and a lot more tough, gritty football. That's going to be extremely, extremely kind of fun and entertaining to watch, I think, in the way of which team reacts best to the climates and the rain, and which team can ultimately, I think, too, not turn the ball over. Who can't, in the rain, if you turn the ball over 3 times, you're going to lose. Who can limit the turnovers, and who can establish the run and run the ball better in this game, I think is ultimately who's going to win. But, listen, right, it's Tom Brady, it's the Buccaneers. It is the Eagles who Tom Brady did not beat in the Super Bowl. So you wonder, maybe are the Eagles just that team that maybe has that secret formula to beating Brady? I know Nick Foles or Doug Peterson are no longer Philadelphia Eagles, but does the organization just have that formula? Are we going to see another Philly special this time just with Jalen Hurts catching the pass? We'll see. Look, I think if you're the Eagles and you're Nick Sirianni, I think you got to go out there and you just got to go ahead and say, hey, I understand establishing the run and, making sure you don't make any stupid mistakes. Because for the Eagles, for a underdog team, you're 8-point road dogs. You're on the road. It's a Buccaneers team that's got Super Bowl aspirations, right? Looking to win back-to-back. It's Tom Brady. It's all that, right? We all know. I don't have to tell you who the Buccaneers are. We all know who they are. Neither do I have to tell you what Tom Brady, especially if you're a Jet fan watching this. We all know Tom Brady well, right? But either way, back to my point with the Eagles, right? Like, yes, you got to establish the run, but I think the Eagles might come out. Like, if you're the Eagles, like, next year on, take chances. Like, take chances, too, right? If this game's close, or, like, do what the Washington did. Washington did it. They had a couple, QB runs, a couple, fancy plays. Just go out and lay it all out there on the line. Treat this like it is. I was going to say treat this like a win or go home, but it is a win or go home. I don't know what the right word I should use. Treat this just like just go out, play loose. It's a very good team against the Bucs. Like, don't try to change things. Try to just play loose and do what you've done all season. And that is be a team that has been a surprise and has won a lot of games that not many people expected them to win. So just go out there and just go out there and just, play loose. Play loose. Do whatever you can to win. Play loose and, play loose and, try to defeat Brady again for the second time. This time with a different regimen and different coach and different quarterback. But now, out of all this, because I know I could sometimes tease and say, this is about different teams. Now, out of all this, I do think the Buccaneers win. Okay? Is there any surprise there? No. Now, I want to make this clear. I don't think the Buccaneers cover the 8 points. I don't. Buccaneers are banged up. It's raining. I get it, it's Tom Brady. I get it, this roster still has a lot of talent. But it's always sometimes these games, and we saw it last season with Washington, right? When you least expect it, the underdog team sometimes comes up and plays a little quicker, a little harder. They come out of the gate kind of a little more, with a little more fire. And that's what I think is going to happen. I think the Eagles make this a game. I don't think this is a blowout 35-7 win for the Buccaneers. They lost to the Buccaneers earlier in the season, by 7? I think going into halftime, I think this game's going to have a similar kind of mood to it as Washington, Taylor Heineke versus the Buccaneers last season. Kind of a back-and-forth type game a little bit. Washington, has, chances, right? They get some nice scores. They make things interesting. In the fourth quarter, I believe you're going to be watching this game with a sense of, let's see if maybe there's an upset. Now, I'm not saying it's going to be an incredible chance. It could be 5 minutes left, Eagles score a touchdown, make it a 7-point game. That could be it. It's going to be something going into the second half. I think the Eagles are still going to have a chance. Now, ultimately, I think the final score is going to be 24-17. I don't think the Buccaneers cover the 8 points, but I do think they win. And I just think they win because they're at home. It's Tom Brady, and those are the reasons. Home and Tom Brady. Tom Brady could be the main reason. But this might be a 24-10 game going into the fourth quarter, and the Eagles might get a score with 6 minutes to go and make it a 7-point game. And maybe the Buccaneers hold on to the ball, give it back with 3 minutes, and maybe then the Eagles don't get anything. It could be something where the Eagles get the ball back with 30 seconds and a timeout and they need to score. That's the type of game. It's going to be one of those games where you're going to be watching, and you're going to be watching with a sense of, let's see what, maybe there could be a comeback. I don't think you're going to be lifting up your feet in the fourth. I don't think Buccaneers fans are going to be lifting up their feet and hanging out by halftime because it's going to be 21-3. I don't think that's going to be the case. I think it's going to be much closer than that. But I do think the Buccaneers win. So Buccaneers win 24-17. I'll take the under on the over-under of 46, and I think the Buccaneers do not cover the 8 points. 8 points, but I do think they win. Give me the Buccaneers. Alrighty, next up here we got the Cowboys and the 49ers. Cowboys come into this game 12-5. 49ers come into this game 10-7. Cowboys are the home team in this one. Cowboys are 3-point favorites. The over-under is set at 50.5. This game goes on Sunday, 4:30 p.m. Eastern on CBS. This is the fourth game of the weekend, and I think it's going to be a good one. I could make the argument. I think they're all going to be good. I hope they're all good anyway. Even that Chiefs-Steelers game, I don't think that's going to be a good game. I think it's going to be a blowout. But I hope it's a good game because, you never like to see playoff games be blowouts. You never do. Unless if it's Tom Brady losing. I'm okay with that. I'm okay if the Eagles game's a blowout and it's because the Eagles are winning. I'm not okay if any of these other games are blowouts because I don't like blowouts. Actually, Steelers game, who cares? Either way, I don't like blowouts. I like close games. I like games that you're watching with a anxious eye going into the fourth quarter. I like those games. I don't like those games that you're going into the fourth quarter and the team's down by 3 and, it's another score and then they're down by, 3 scores, or rather 3. I meant 3 scores, and it's like, it's like 21-7 or 28-7, and maybe they kick a field goal, it's like 28-10, then maybe they score and they get the ball back with like 30 seconds and they have a chance, to score 11 points in 30 seconds. I don't like those games. What I do like is the close games. The games that could come down to a field goal, could come down to the final drive, could come down to the final 2 minutes, could come down to Dak Prescott needing to lead a drive downfield in order for the Cowboys to move on to the next round. And I do think that's going to be this type of game. And like I said, I like the 49ers a lot. Like, this 49ers team, I didn't believe in early in the season. I didn't. I said when everyone was saying, there could be 4 teams come out of the NFC West, Rams, Cardinals, Seahawks, and Niners, I didn't believe it. I did not believe it. I believe that 3 teams could have. I thought the Rams, Cardinals, Seahawks were all capable of. I didn't think the Niners were, especially with the uncertainty with who was going to start with Trey Lance and Jimmy Garoppolo. Was it going to be one of those things where Garoppolo starts no matter how the season going, they then transfer to Trey Lance? Like, what if it was like a 1-2 start? Would you have moved to a 1-3 start or 1-4 start? Would you just kind of, forget about the season, just start Trey Lance and see whatever it was? That was kind of the questions going into the season. And I'll tell you what, no matter the result of this game, the result of the season, the result wherever Jimmy Garoppolo more than likely gets traded this offseason, what he has done in San Francisco has been awesome. He's done a lot. He's done a lot of good things there. He helped them to a Super Bowl. And even through a season like this, where he's been injured a little bit, and he's also, with all the media, the fan base kind of split between him and Trey Lance, fan base not fully agreeing with him with all that extra kind of stuff outside of the game that he's had to block out this season, he's done a good job with it. He has. And has he been perfect? No. Has he been spectacular? No. Is he an MVP candidate? No. But has he done enough? Has he helped the Niners, get to this point? Yes. Has he helped them in a big way? Yes. Has he had some big moments and has he had some big games where, they got some big wins? Definitely. Yes, right? So you look at this and you say, like, for Jimmy Garoppolo, I think Garoppolo's going to come into this game loose. I think he's going to come into all these playoff games loose, and that's why I think it's going to be so close, because I think he's going to come in with the mindset of, hey, look, right, at this point, I'm just playing just to play. I'm not going to be a Niner next year. Like, I think he realizes this. I think Niners fans have come to the realization of that. I think Jimmy Garoppolo's come to the realization of that. He's not going to be a 49er next season. I think they're going to trade him and they're going to play Trey. And that's the only fair thing. They drafted Trey Lance. They believe in him. They see something in him. That's, you're not going to give Jimmy Garoppolo a 3-year extension and say, Trey Lance, goodbye. We drafted you to play a couple games this year. That's it. No. They drafted Trey Lance to be their future quarterback. So I actually think it's going to be interesting to see how Jimmy Garoppolo plays. I could see, him playing loose, and I could see him kind of playing with his hair on fire a little bit and going out there and just having fun. I could see it like that. I could see him throwing the ball deep, airing it out. Right? I could see that. And I could also see the same thing happening on the Cowboys side of things, which is why I think this is going to be a fun game, because I think you're going to get Jimmy Garoppolo and that Niners offense kind of going out there and just playing loose, fun football, and I think you're going to get a Cowboys team which has the talent and the capability of, winning and getting deep in the playoffs. Also, having fun, going out there, throwing the ball deep, getting, guys like Cooper and and CeeDee Lamb involved. And I want to make this clear. Okay? This is similar to what the Bengals and Raiders game is, right? Niners coming off of a very emotional, proud, happy win against the Rams in overtime, right? Cowboys coming off of a blowout win expected to happen against the Eagles in Philly on the Monday night game. Okay, all those things happen. We all know that, right? So all that stuff happening, right? Eagles, Niners come into this with a lot of, kind of coming off a big week, emotional victory and all that stuff, a lot of energy. Cowboys come into this smooth sailing. They got to win. They're happy. They're good. So it's going to be interesting to see how this game starts off. Does this game start off with the Cowboys coming out and just playing and having fun? Or does this game come out with where, maybe there's a lot of energy early on and there's just maybe some mistakes? And that's the big thing with the Niners, is coming off a big win, the last thing you want is to have some bad mistakes early, fall behind early, and try to climb your way out of it. That is the absolute last thing that you need. Because, if you have a loss where, if you have something like that where, or whatever it is, if you have something like that where you are, in a situation, if you have something where, you come out and you have a lot of energy and all of a sudden early on you make some early mistakes, that could change the entire, complexion of the game. Now, here's my pick, okay? Because I got to get to the Steelers and then I got to get to David Culley running on time here. We're already 4 minutes into this, so I got to speed up a little bit. Here's my pick. I do think the Cowboys win this one. Now, I'm going to tell you this. I think the Chiefs win as well. I know I picked all the point favorites. Listen, I wanted badly to pick some underdogs. I know every playoff you always have it, but I'm just not that kind of guy to do that purposely. Like, I do think the Bengals are better than the Raiders. Bills Patriots is a toss-up, could go either way, but Bills at home, I like that. Buccaneers are just, I think, the better team. And the Cowboys 49ers, you know how I felt about the Cowboys all season. I've said all season they have the capability of making a deep run. I don't care that they've had ups and downs this year. They are capable of making an extremely deep run. So give me the Cowboys. Cowboys win, I think. 31-21 Cowboys win. I'm sorry, not 31-21. 31-28. I don't know why I said 21. 31-28 Cowboys win. They just barely cover the 3 points. They get right at 3. So 31-28 Cowboys win. Greg Zuerlein, okay, has had a very iffy season. Let's see him get the game-winning kick. Cowboys win 31-28, game-winning kick, drive led by Dak to get into field goal range. Give me the Cowboys 31-21. I'll take the over on the over, 31-28. I don't know why I keep saying 21. 31-28. I'm going to take the over on the over-under, 50.5. And boom, Cowboys right there with a 3-point win. Give me the Cowboys. Alrighty, final game here of the weekend. Then Monday night, I'll give you my pick on Monday. You got the Chiefs and the Steelers. Chiefs come into this game 12-5. Steelers come into this game just barely squeaked in at a record of 9-7-1. The Chiefs are 12.5-point favorites. The over/under is set at 46. This game comes on Sunday, 8:15 p.m. Eastern on NBC. This will wrap up the 5 games stretched across Saturday through Sunday. This will be the 5th and final game of the weekend, and then Monday will be the Rams-Cardinals. Look, right, this is a game I don't have to go into too much depth, okay? I think the Chiefs win. 95% of people think the Chiefs win. They're just the better football. I mean, I don't know what else to say. They're the better football team, the more talented football team. They crushed the Steelers the last time they were in it. Ben Roethlisberger has even said it. They're just going to go in and have fun. They're going to be loose. They beat the Steelers last time 36-10. Look, Steelers don't stand a chance in this game, okay? Chiefs at home. It's Patrick Mahomes. It's the Chiefs. It's the talent on that roster. And for the Steelers, it's a team that just squeaked in. And it's a team that, frankly, if the Jaguars don't choke against the Jaguars, Ben Roethlisberger's played his last game last weekend, and the Steelers right now are in the off season. And I understand you could say that about every team. Well, but it's not really a fair point to say, but it's the truth. Like, the Steelers just squeaked in, and this is a Chiefs team that is contending for another Super Bowl. Okay, the level in talent, the level in rosters are so far off. Now, the one chance I say the Steelers have, like, if you were a Steelers fan, if you have to give me a key to the game, like, you had to give me, if you wanted to know something that the Steelers absolutely 100% need to do in order to win this, TJ Watt's got to get the Patrick Mahomes, and for the offense, you got to get the ball to Najee Harris. I know Ben Roethlisberger's not the same player to go on the road and throw the ball a ton and win a game on the road in Kansas City against the Chiefs. He's not the same player anymore. What you need to do is you need to run the ball. You need to get Najee Harris involved. You need to create holes. You're also going to need to have a couple big spark plays, like, a couple big runs, maybe a big pass here, right? You need to be balanced. You need to run the ball. That's what you need to do. And you need TJ Watt to play like he has all season. Get to Patrick Mahomes. Force Patrick Mahomes in some bad decisions like most defenses were doing early in the season. That's what they need to do. Is it going to be easy? No. Is it possible? Yeah. But that's what the Steelers need to do. Now, for the Chiefs, look, they just need to play their game. Mahomes has just got to go out, throw it to Hill, get it to Kelsey, get it to those guys. Steelers got to find a way to limit them. I don't think they do. As much as you got to hope it's a close game, relatively close, just because of the fact that, as my mic got messed up here, just because of the fact that, look, you always got to hope it's a close game. You always do. Just because of the fact that it's playoffs and you want to see a good game. It's also the final game of the weekend. So you always got to hope it's going to be a good game. But look, right, I think many of us can agree. I don't think many of us think it's going to be a good game. I think most of us are kind of on the same boat that it's probably going to be probably close to like a 35-13, 35-10 victory, and that's what I'm going to roll with. I'm going to give the Chiefs the win 35-10. I think they're going to cover the 12.5 by a mile. Give me the Chiefs 35-10. I'll take the under on the over-under of 46, just below 46, and I think the Chiefs cover the 12.5. Give me the Chiefs. So those are my picks. Let me just read through them one more time. I have the Bengals winning, Bills winning, Buccaneers winning, Cowboys winning, and Chiefs winning. And I'll give you my Rams-Cardinals pick on Monday night, or on Monday, before the Monday night game. By the way, that Rams-Cardinals game, just for the info, 4-point favorites, the Rams are at home. So, Rams open up at 4-point favorites. We'll see how everything goes, how that game ends up playing out. But at the moment, right now, as we sit here today, Rams are 4-point favorites. So that's the deal there. And, like I said, you got to hope that's another good game as well. And I think that will be an interesting game. That's a game to keep your eye out for. So, definitely one to look out for as a football fan. So that should be another good one. Alrighty. So that's my NFL game picks. That is my wild card weekend picks. And every year I do this. You always got to wonder, when's the next time the Jets are in? Right? Every year, wild card weekend, I'm thinking, this time next year. Maybe just maybe this time next year, the New York Jets, who haven't been in it since 2010, by the way, are going to be in. Maybe just maybe. Maybe just maybe we will have a team that is in the playoffs for another season. Or Jets for another season. Maybe this time next year, I'll be sitting here, trying to talk about how the Jets are going to beat whatever, the Bills, whoever it may be. That's the hope. That's the goal. That's the ultimate, I guess, not dream. I guess the ultimate goal is to win a Super Bowl, but you got to take baby steps first. So we'll see. But a lot of good games this weekend. Definitely a lot of good games. And should be fun. Should be some good ones. I expect them to be close. And, that's what I got for my NFL game picks. Now, coming up next, David Culley, after just one season as head coach, is out in Houston. The Houston Texans have decided to move on from head coach David Culley after just 1 year with the organization. They did not have Deshaun Watson last season. He did not play. They expect not to have him again this year. He could be on the trade block. David Culley is out in Houston. I will get to this deal, and I will tell you, was this the right move for the Houston Texans? I'll get to this and much more surrounding the David Culley firing coming up next. All right, so welcome back here up at the podcast here on this Friday edition of BSN Network Podcast. We Football Friday. Just got done with my game picks and just looking at some notes here, but just got done with my game picks and my game picks, and now you're gonna get to the David Culley firing. So it's kind of funny. It's definitely a little interesting having another full topic to talk about because usually it's fantasy football at this point, and usually I just kind of not breeze through that, but just give you my fantasy stuff and get going. So kind of another topic here. I'm going to try to be, as quick and to the point as I can with this, just because, I don't want to say this was a surprise, but I think some of us expected it. And I also think that, it's at this point where it's like, it's not I don't think it's a franchise-changing move by any means. But look, right, the news broke yesterday, a couple minutes before I did my pod yesterday, that David Culley fired as Texans head coach after just one season. So, he got hired last year, last offseason, and gets fired this offseason. So, only 1 year. Not 2, not 3, got 1, went 4-13, and he's out. So the quick exit, the quick, the quick boot, and look, right? Is this a surprise? It comes a little bit, I think, a little bit of a surprise, but I also think there's that part of us that kind of expected it. I think, throughout the season, not because of the performance, but I think throughout the season, some of us, even when the hire was made, kind of had the thought process of, is this just a placeholder type hire? Is this a hire for, with a lot of people inside, Schefter and Rapport, a lot of insiders, inside the NFL, believe that this was a hire for the Texans, so because they didn't get their guy they wanted last year, kind of just they hire to be that kind of placeholder until they might be able to get their guy this year. And we don't know who that guy is. We don't know if that report's true, but that's what people are saying, at least prior to the firing. People were saying that, don't be surprised if David Culley's out, because, there's that chance of him being kind of just that placeholder type guy, almost like a quarterback being a placeholder quarterback, then next season bringing in the quarterback you truly want, whether that's through free agency, trade, or through the draft, whatever. Giants are kind of in a situation like that. So a similar situation here in Houston. It's like David Culley was hired. It was a small name acquisition. There were so many questions in the offseason. When he got hired, it was like, okay, where's this headed? Like, what is this kind of thought process? He was the wide receivers coach in Baltimore. I believe in Baltimore. It was kind of one of those hirings that not made, it was kind of a little bit of a head scratcher. It was like, where are the Texans going with this? They kind of, Deshaun Watson and the saga going on there and all that. He wanted, Eric Bieniemy, and he wanted that guy, and he wanted his own guy, and the Texans kind of ignored that. And it's like the Texans kind of went their own way with this and kind of felt David Culley might have been the best option. And look, right, I get it where the frustration is coming from in terms of only 1 year, and he showed some progress with a team without their star quarterback. Okay, I get that. Here's my thing. Okay, everybody's saying, oh, David Culley won 4 games and did this and that without his star quarterback. And look, that's not a viable excuse to use when Deshaun Watson's not going to be on the Texans for much longer. I think many people within the organization believe, I think the Texans kind of know it themselves. Watson's done with them. He's done. It's over. He's not going to be playing quarterback for the Houston Texans, another game this season, another game at all in his career. I think we can mostly agree on that. Who knows? Maybe I'm wrong. Maybe they bring in Eric Bieniemy and he's back and he's just like he never, took off a season. But using the excuse, or not even the excuse, using the thing as, oh, he was without a star quarterback, well, that's the reality. Deshaun Watson is not going to be with the Texans for much longer. So he's got to he had to figure out a way to work with Davis Mills and work with these other guys and work with the talent he got, because that's what the Texans roster is. And that's where I get some of the frustration, right? You gave the guy 1 year. I'm a believer that you should give coaches 2 years. I'm also kind of a believer that in the Jets case, Gase should have been gone after 1 year, but that's a different story, different day. I could give you a tumultuous amounts of reasons. I could give you millions of reasons why. I could give you a ton of reasons why Adam Gase should have been out after his first season. And even that 6-2 stretch could be one of them, with some of the 2 bad losses we took during that stretch. One being against the Bengals, which was brutal. That's a different story, different day, though. Saying that always without his number 1 quarterback and stuff, that's the reality. Deshaun Watson is not going to be with the Texans for much longer. So here's the deal. You either had to go with David Culley again for another season with the risk of maybe another 5-win season and then having to restart it, or you truly maybe see a guy that's out there now that you really want and you hire him and he brings in his own people and he really gets this ship headed in the right direction. I just don't really get where Texans fans are coming from with, oh, this guy was so good. He was really building this thing. Where did that show you? I get it. He had a bad roster and he still won 4 games, but 4 games, 4 wins is 4 wins. And I said that with the Jets. I understand the Jets are playing a lot of young players, but the 4 wins is 4 wins. And that was kind of the expectation. For the Texans, though, the expectation wasn't to do much. But like that's like, he wasn't going to be able to do much because of Watson, but you're not going to have Watson. Like, you got to realize that. So this is a firing to me that I think the Texans deep down inside knew when they made this hire last year that, look, unless if he does something amazing or he really truly shows something, he's out. And ultimately, yesterday, they came to that decision that, look, maybe the Texans see a guy out there now that they really wanted. And they wanted him last year. Maybe they couldn't get that guy. Or maybe they see a guy like Brian Flores that maybe they were looking at, not looking at last season, but maybe a guy like his, kind of a coach like that to bring in. Brian Flores is a hot name. I know Mayo, the linebackers coach for the Patriots, is an option as well. There's a lot of options. But I don't fully disagree with this. I do not fully disagree with the firing of David Culley. I get the 1 year thing. I get he didn't really have much to work with. But at the same time, is this roster really going to have a complete makeover next year? No, it's not. He's going to be working with about the same roster. And he was kind of thrust into a weird position too. Like, he was kind of just thrown into it. So it's like, I think if they truly got their guy last season, which was David Culley, I think they probably would have traded Watson. And I think David Culley probably would have had a little bit more power over things he wanted to do. But look, in the Texans' eyes, 4-13 wasn't good enough. And they maybe see a guy out there now that can truly change the trajectory of that franchise. And we'll see how it goes. Because right now, they were without a head coach. And, look, here it is. Here's my question. They fired David Culley. If you're a Texans fan, if you're angry about it, okay, you're angry. If they bring in Flores, would you still be angry? I take Flores any day over David Culley. I take Flores over a lot of coaches right now in the NFL. I would. So that's my thought process. If they bring in a true guy that knows what he's doing, truly, and can win games and can win quickly here, the Texans make the right move. Right now, I don't fully disagree with this move, but this is also kind of one of those moves that could be a wait-and-see type move. Who do they hire, and what does that hire do? Because if they hire a guy and he's out after 1 season, maybe they win 2 games next year, it's like, okay, what the heck are we doing? But if they hire him and he wins 9 games next year, like if they hire Brian Flores, that's an upgrade over David Culley. I would do that. So I don't get the complete frustration around the David Culley firing. I don't. Because you have a fan base that's frustrated about losing, but a head coach that last season that really did nothing but lose. And I get they were at Watson, but you got to face that reality, Texans fans. You're going to be without Watson for a long time now, because I believe Watson's going to get traded and he's going to be with a different organization and he's not going to play with the Texans anymore. So you got to get used to that reality. That's not a viable excuse when just simply he's not your quarterback. And that's what I got on the David Culley firing. Now let's get to this quick article here. David Culley fired as Texans head coach after 1 season. David Culley's tenure as head coach of the Houston Texans has ended after just 1 season. The Texans parted ways with the 66-year-old after the team went 4-13 in 2021. Now, let me read you just a couple statements from the Texans here. So the following is a statement from Houston Texans general manager Nick Cassero. Earlier today, I met with David Culley and Tim Kelly to inform them we will be moving in a different direction at the head coach and offensive coordinator positions. I came to this difficult but necessary decision after receiving our football operation. While a change after one season is unusual, we had a philosophical difference over the long-term direction and vision for our program moving forward. We appreciate Coach Coley for helping us navigate through a difficult season, but in my responsibility to make decisions. This is my but it is my responsibility to make decisions that I feel are best for our organization. The search for the next coach of the Houston Texans will begin immediately. This is the statement from David Culley. Follow the following statements from David Culley. I loved every minute of being the head coach of the Houston Texans. I appreciate the players and coaches for staying the course with me through the ups and downs of our season. I'm disappointed we didn't win more games, and I won't have a chance to improve on the lessons I've learned. But I fully understand this is a bottom line business, and I didn't do enough. I want to thank the McNair family and Nick Cassero for giving me this opportunity. I am forever grateful for the experience. I wish this team and the organization the best. They are building a special program, and I truly believe the future is bright for Texans fans. So the following statement is from Houston Texans Chair and Chief Executive Officer Cal McNair. So this is another statement. We are grateful for the energy and passion David brought to our organization throughout last season. We wish him, his wife, Carolyn, and their entire family nothing but the best moving forward. I have entrusted Nick Cassero to lead football performance, and I have complete confidence he will find the best leader for our team. These decisions are difficult, but Nick believed it was necessary for the future of our organization. We look forward to continuing to build our roster and finding the right coach to lead us forward. So look, at the end of the day, they just did not feel he was the right guy. Whether you like it or not, they just did not feel he was the right guy. Mike Garafolo, NFL Network, was the first to report the news. Coming off a difficult 2020 season that saw Bill O'Brien get fired after 4 games and Romeo Cornell take over on an interim basis, the Texans sought to bring some stability to the organization. Coley was hired on January 29th after a 27-year run as an assistant coach in the NFL. He spent the previous 2 seasons as an assistant head coach, wide receivers coach, and passing game coordinator for the Baltimore Ravens and John Harbaugh's staff. The Texans situation was complicated by quarterback Deshaun Watson requesting a trade during the offseason. Watson was subsequently accused of sexual assault and sexual misconduct by 24 women. 22 active civil lawsuits have been filed against the 26-year-old. 10 women, 8 of whom have filed lawsuits, have brought criminal complaints. Houston kept Watson inactive for the entire 2021 season because of his ongoing legal situation. Coley was given a difficult task in his first stint as the head coach and did a decent job given how given how bad the Texans roster was. Rookie quarterback Davis Mills showed promise in 11 starts. The third-rounder out of Stanford threw for 2,664 yards, 16 touchdowns, and 10 interceptions while completing 68.8% of his attempts. The Texans need to pick a direction and give their next coach an opportunity to build if they want to get out of the AFC South cellar in the near future. They are going to have the number 3 overall pick in 2022 to find a potential franchise player. Now, to build, an opportunity to build. Now, their next coach they can't fire after another season because, unless if they go 0-17 or win 2 games or whatever, they can't. You can't have 2 coaches in 2 years. Then now you got to give this next coach time. This really what it comes down to, and I think the Texans had this planned. Barring anything crazy, I think this was just a fill-in and kind of a guy just to be there as a placeholder, and once they really want their guy and found their guy, they're going to go out and try to get him. And that's what I think ultimately the Texans did, and that's why I think they moved on from David Culley. So we'll see what we'll see what happens with David Culley, right? It wasn't a good season. He went 4-13, but maybe teams saw something in him. Maybe some other teams saw some potential with the way the players were playing for him, and that's a possibility. We'll see if he gets another job and maybe a more extended opportunity with his next team. We'll see. Anyway, let's get to the NBA, NHL, and all that good stuff and finish this off. Tonight we got the 76ers, Celtics. I'll give 76ers on. Hornets, Magic. I'll give the 76ers to win. Hornets, Magic. I'll give Hornets to win. Raptors, Pistons. I'll give Raptors to win. Suns, Pacers, I'll give Suns to win. Bulls, Warriors, give Bulls to win. Heat, Hawks, give Heat to win. Cavs, Spurs, give Cavs to win. Grizzlies, Mavericks, give Grizzlies to win. And Kings, Rockets, I'll give Kings to win. As for the NHL, we got 3 games on tonight. Panthers, Stars, I'll give Panthers to win. Wild, Ducks, I'll give Wild to win. And Avalanche, Coyotes, I will give the Avalanche to win. 2 college basketball top 25 games tonight. Purdue, Nebraska, I'll give Purdue to win. And Illinois, Michigan, give me Illinois. Tomorrow, you got Kentucky and Tennessee on. Give me Kentucky. Why not, right? Some solid games on tomorrow in the world of college basketball. And as for fantasy basketball, and we'll wrap up another week in the books of podcasts. Right now, I'm currently winning 790 to 399. Today, I've got going John Morant, Darius Garland, Miles Bridges, Kelly Oubre, Desmond Bain, John Collins, Buddy Hield, Rashawn Holmes, and Tyrese Maxey. Holmes is still out. His conditioning is questionable for tonight's game. So, hopefully he's back in action. That'd be a nice boost for my roster. And, yeah, that's what I got for fantasy basketball. So, yeah, so big weekend ahead. Big weekend ahead. Football on tomorrow, football on Sunday, football on Monday. All wild card football, all exciting, all I'm super pumped up for. And, yeah. I'd like to comment down below. Who do you think, biggest upset this weekend? Give me your upset. My upset pick, if I had to choose, would probably be either the Niners over the Cowboys or the Patriots over the Bills. Those would probably be my 2 upset picks. Didn't give you my pick on the Rams-Cardinals, so I'm not going to give you that. Because my upset pick would just be the team that I don't think is going to win that game. So those would be my 2 upset picks. My other, shockingly, would be the Eagles. I just don't know. I don't know why I think the Eagles are going to keep that game semi-interesting. Bengals, I think, take care of the Raiders. I think the Bengals take care of the Raiders. I don't think they're going to have a big issue in that game. I think it's going to be relatively close, but at home, Joe Burrow, Jamar Chase. You know what would be fun? And I was talking to somebody today about this. Joe Burrow, Dak Prescott in the Super Bowl, and then have Jamar Chase and Trayvon Diggs go against each other. You talk about, that would just be fun. Bengals, Cowboys, Super Bowl. That would be new, too. The Cowboys haven't been in a while, and the Bengals either. That would be fun. You talk about a high-scoring, fun, offensive game. Bengals, Cowboys would create excellent storylines. It would. Instead of it being the Buccaneers and, I don't know, Patriots. Well, take that back. Buccaneers, Patriots would be a lot of fun. And that, you talk about Belichick, Brady. But if it's the Buccaneers and Chiefs again, or Buccaneers and, I don't know, what's another good team in the AFC? If it's Buccaneers, Chiefs, or Buccaneers, Bills wouldn't be bad. But, having the same team in it every, back-to-back years is never great. Cowboys, Bengals would be, fun. Another fun matchup would be, Buccaneers, Patriots would be fun just because of the Belichick, Brady. Another fun what would be another fun matchup? Packers, Rams. I think I could see Packers, Rams. No, that wouldn't work. Never mind. Not Packers, Rams. I could see Packers, Bills, I think could be fun. Potential there. Josh Allen, Aaron Rodgers. What are some other Super Bowl possibilities? I think Bengals, Bucks. No, not Bucks. Bengals, Rams has potential to be entertaining. Bengals, Cardinals. I'm not saying the Cardinals are going to get there, but if they do, Bengals, Cardinals has potential. Because I believe if they make the Super Bowl, DeAndre Hopkins would be back. I think if they make the NFC Championship game, DeAndre Hopkins would be back. But that's potential. Bengals are a fun team. They're a fun team to watch. And they're all young, too. So they're all early in their career, and they got a lot of energy, and they're all, hyped up. They're a fun team. They're a fun team. That's why I hope they win, because I want to see them play still. They're a fun team to watch. Definitely are. Jamar Chase, Joe Burrow, all those guys. It's an entertaining team to watch and a very good team. So, anyway, that'll do it. That'll do it for the podcast here today. Enjoy the big weekend ahead with all the great sports on. Enjoy it. It's going to be fun. Going to be a lot of fun. I'm super, super excited for it. It's a wild card weekend. And, enjoy it. Big weekend coming up. And, as you all know, take breaks on the weekends. So everybody enjoy your weekend. Enjoy all of the excellent sports on this weekend. And I will see you all on the flip side. I'll see you all back here on Monday. Hope you enjoyed it. And thanks for watching.